Because right now, Matt Stafford is your favorite at plus 275, but it's a very short lead over Drake May, who is 3-1. And I understand Drake May is having a great season, but some of these numbers, man, like Matt Stafford has 25 touchdowns to only 2 picks this year. Drake May has 19 touchdowns to 5 picks. Is there really only 25 cents difference between these two players? If I'm Matt Stafford, I'm looking at this and being like, what does this old bag of bones have to do to prove to you guys that I'm the MVP right now?
Matt Stafford should feel disrespected based on how his odds. I mean, going into yesterday's game, he was like the 4th favorite at 6-1. He throws 4 touchdowns, 3rd straight game, throwing at least 4 touchdowns. First player to do that without a single pick in NFL history. And all of a sudden, that's what carries him over the edge in terms of MVP odds. So, I mean, hey, I hope anyone who likes Matthew Stafford for MVP got him yesterday prior to the game, because plus 275, not a great price compared to the 6-1 or even the longer numbers that you could have gotten him at. Plus, Matthew Stafford's doing this in year 17. I know it's also impressive that Drake May is doing this in year 2, but year 17 and the touchdown to interception ratio that Stafford has 2 interceptions all season when he's thrown 25 touchdowns. He only, 100 less yards, 100 plus less yards Drake May through the air. Whatever. Those kind of wash each other out. But 25 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, that's pretty impressive to me. Matt Stafford's been my MVP for a long time, and I mean, finally the books are looking that same way as well.
Yeah, Matt Stafford has been Kate's personal MVP for quite some time now.
I mean, he certainly has.
But to
the
put
guy's
it
in
but here's the thing, like there was this narrative to start the season where you look at his age and so many people had questions about the Rams overall, just because they said, how do we know if Matt Stafford's going to play in these games? And what's wild to me is that we have seen precedent for this, where Matt Stafford has been the toughest guy, it feels like, in the NFL multiple times in his career, where he's playing through a broken collarbone, he's playing through all these injuries, and he still puts up great numbers. So it's one of those things where I knew when people said this, and obviously hindsight is 2020, when people are like, oh, he's getting an epidural. There's no way to know how he's going to be after that. Like, the guy survived worse. Like, I've had an epidural and I gave birth to a child. I'm not saying it's the same thing. I am just saying that don't you doubt Matt Stafford, because he is extremely tough. He plays through a lot of this, and it feels like age is just a number to him. Like, to put into perspective what he was to start the season, he was 33-1 to win MVP to start the year, and now he sits at plus 275. So somebody, if you took a shot on Matt Stafford preseason, you're sitting pretty right now, for sure.
And I mean, I said Matt Stafford's been my MVP for a while. He was not my MVP at 30. What you said, 33-1 to start the season. Like, I'm not sure too many people did take a shot on him at that number because of the back injury. I was among those talking heads that was like, if Matt Stafford's not on the field, the Rams are done, which I still believe if he's not on the field, but I didn't think that Stafford would start the season. I didn't think he would play till week 4 or 5. And at that point, like, then your stats are skewed. You've probably missed too much time to be in the MVP category. So I certainly am not someone who betted at 33-1 because I didn't believe, I bought into the narrative of his back is not going to be okay. One big hit at his age and that back can be thrown out, or whatever issues, nerve issues he had can come right back. So he's also just had a great offensive line keeping him upright. Like, hasn't taken all that many sacks this season, which is what's keeping him healthy. But it's kind of also like in the manner that he's done a lot of these things. Like, even yesterday, some no-look passes for touchdowns. Like, he's just crazy like that. One other player, Chelsa, that I think the odds are way too long on right now, the disrespect for Sam Darnold. Hand up right here. I was throwing massive shade at Sam Darnold early on in the season. I was disrespecting that man. He's been phenomenal this year for the Seahawks. And so for Sam Darnold to be 100-1, where Josh Allen, after the performance that Josh Allen had yesterday, is only plus 650, I think that's a misprice right there. 10-1, thank you, instead of 11-1 for Sam Darnold. But I think Darnold needs to be higher up in that category and is getting a little disrespected.
Yeah, but I feel like what sucks about this award is that a lot of it is narratives. And it's not just simply who has the best numbers. So, as much as it pains me to say this, it does not feel like an award that Sam Darnold is going to win just because people look at JSN and they look at the receivers around him. And plus, like the eye test as well. Like some of these passes that Matt Stafford was making were ones that would just make Chris Collinsworth fall over in his chair if it was Patrick Mahomes. And it's
Thank goodness
funny,
Gus Johnson
speaking
isn't calling those games, Chelsa.
it would be inaudible. We wouldn't know what he was saying. But speaking of Patrick Mahomes, and because this is a narrative-based award, Patrick Mahomes sitting there lurking at 5-1. And so looking at some of the numbers, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have, the stats that fly off the page. 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, which is just fine. Quarterback rating of, let's see, 98.2, which is noticeably different than like Matt Stafford's 114. Jared Goff is 117. But we know this award is not based on numbers alone. Some of it's the eye test and some of it is narratives. Do you think there is a way that Patrick Mahomes steals this award from some of these guys who have better numbers?
Yeah, certainly, especially because the Chiefs only seem to continue to get better as the year has progressed. And I mean, for him to be where he is, he didn't even play this weekend. And I want to say his number dropped. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was plus 650 last week, and he's 5-1 right now. So, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is always going to be in the conversation. He was the guy that was my favorite going into the season. And as long as the Chiefs keep winning football games, it's going to be because of Patrick Mahomes, and that number is going to get shorter too. So I think Drake May has a lot of, do you call it pressure? I mean, it's only his second season. It's hard for a second-year quarterback to win MVP. We don't see that all that often. So I think he has to be the one that really continues stuffing the stat sheet in terms of those touchdowns and the fewer interceptions in order to stay at the top. Whereas Patrick Mahomes may be able to endure some volatility and still have those odds there because he is Patrick Mahomes and the name comes with it.
I think one of the knocks against the Patriots, which I don't think is a fair knock, has been that they have not faced the toughest schedule.
Yeah.
But, they went on the road and beat the Bucks yesterday. That was a huge win for them and a good Bucks team. And Drake May had a good game in that game. But you look further down the schedule, it doesn't feel like there's going to be a ton of slip-up games for Drake May. But again, he is a young quarterback. So next, the Patriots host the Jets. Then they go on the road to the Bengals. They got the Giants. Then they do host the Bills. Maybe that'll be a tough one. Go on the road to the Ravens. Go back to the Jets, and then they play the Dolphins at New England. So there are plenty of games left for Drake May to pad the stat sheet. But I do think if Matt Stafford continues to put up these numbers, it's his award to lose. I know that Patrick Mahomes, from an eye test perspective, is certainly one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback. I probably should say that in the NFL. But for the Chiefs to win, he doesn't necessarily need to stand on his head. This is still a good overall team, and the goal for the Chiefs is still to win a Super Bowl. It's not for Patrick Mahomes to pad the stat sheet. So I think that's kind of the sabotage factor for Patrick Mahomes. And then there's some people looking at other positions, notably the season that Jonathan Taylor is having, where he already has over 1,000 yards rushing and 15 touchdowns. But Kate, we've seen this story before. You can have historic seasons as somebody who is not a quarterback, and you will not win MVP. We have seen Cooper Kupp win the Triple Crown as a receiver and Super Bowl MVP. Did he win MVP that year? No. We've seen Derrick Henry break all kinds of rushing records, rush for over 2,000 yards in a season. Did he win MVP? No. So I still think it is a giant uphill climb for Jonathan Taylor to win MVP.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. It's a quarterback award. It should just be named after a quarterback and be called the quarterback award. You'd have to go back how many years before you get to Adrian Peterson, 2012, last non-quarterback and a running back in that matter to win MVP. But with how some of these quarterbacks are playing right now, I don't see that happening. If this were a mediocre year for quarterbacks, and I feel like the season kind of started in that manner, no one really separated themselves, but here we are just over halfway through, and you're seeing the Matthew Stafford and the Drake Mays pop. And that's what makes it even harder for Jonathan Taylor. Drake May, the 2 games that I think could really solidify his MVP candidacy. Yeah, he's got a lot of stat padding games against the Jets and Bengals, but those back-to-back games against the Bills and then at at Baltimore. If he balls out in both of those games and the Patriots win those, that could be enough to kind of put his stamp on MVP for this season. Now, similarly with Matthew Stafford, the Rams still have 2 games against the Seahawks this year. Coming up in this next week, they host the Seahawks in week 12, and then down the road, third to the last game of the season, that one is against the Seahawks. They also play the Lions in there. So there are quite a few tough games for the Rams where if Stafford continues this, that could be his stamp. But those are kind of like, Patrick Mahomes is always lurking, but those are the 2 front runners that I think will be the front runners at the end of the season.